You truly are.
At the beginning of 2026, I started reading Absolute Wonder Woman, and it is incredible. Like we discussed in the Absolute Batman video, the point of the Absolute Elseworld universe is to strip an iconic character down to their most fundamental elements and ask what remains. Batman is removed from the context of wealth and status, allowing his conviction to his crusade to be at the forefront of the story. And it also allows him to be more aggressive and brutal, because no matter what happens, Bruce will always become the Bat. For Absolute Wonder Woman, she is taken from Themyscira as a baby and raised in hell by the sorceress Circe. Stating the claim, without the island, without the sisterhood that shaped her, without a mission of peace, what is left is the absolute Amazon. Even in the depths of hell, Diana remains an arbiter of truth, justice, love, and compassion. She softens the hearts of monsters, tames ancient beasts, and battles the gods. All to prove that Wonder Woman isn't defined by where she comes from, she's defined by who she chooses to be. It's epic, it's colossal, it's drenched in mythology, and it's emotionally captivating. For all the glazing I did for Absolute Batman, and that glazing was warranted, Absolute Wonder Woman is just better. This series made me fall in love with Wonder Woman, with Diana of Themyscira, but in the back of my mind, there was always this lingering question as I read. Who even is Diana? This question is born from the fact that no matter how good this version of Wonder Woman is, it's only an interpretation. It's in conversation with 80 plus years of history for this prolific character. Wonder Woman is one of the most important characters in popular culture, 1/3 of DC's Trinity, and the literal blueprint for heroines across media. And yet when it comes to her visibility, she is consistently sidelined and misrepresented. How can one of the most influential superheroes ever created have so little media compared to her contemporaries? Why do so many critically acclaimed writers describe her as one of the hardest heroes to write? Why is it taking so long for her to get her own damn animated series when Superman's fucking dog is getting one within the next year? Perhaps the reason I'm getting this feeling that I don't know this character the way that I know Superman or Batman, was because, like many, I was never allowed to. That didn't sit right with me. So I decided to change it. Over the past few months, I've immersed myself in Wonder Woman comics. At first, I only wanted the context to better appreciate Absolute Wonder Woman, understand what was being changed and what the significance of those changes were. Like, I don't know who this giant cowman is, but I love him and I pray he is a core Wonder Woman character. But after reading a bunch of different Wonder Woman comics, what I found was nothing short of transformative. I fell in love with Wonder Woman's mythology, her philosophy, her history, her everything. Wonder Woman is a beacon of hope and compassion. She is honor and bravery and love incarnate. Where Bruce sees the worst in us and seeks to save us from it, and Clark sees the best in us and seeks to bring it out, Diana sees us for who we are and chooses to love us anyway. And something about that speaks to me. Wonder Woman's greatest stories deserve to stand beside Batman and Superman's very best. So let me take you on a journey. One that I hope transforms you the way that it transformed me. Together, let's answer one deceptive yet simple question. Who is Wonder Woman? To begin this journey, I needed a game plan. As I've said, my experience with Wonder Woman was next to zero. I have not read a single Wonder Woman comic ever. And with decades of issues, runs, and crossover events to sift through, I wanted to spend my time on stories that would give me the clearest picture of who Diana is, and not so much the stuff that is, how you say, shit from a butt. Sorry, Tom King, but I draw the line at Wonder Woman committing suicide. So I narrowed my search to 3 questions. What is her origin? Who is Diana as a person? And what defines her world? Thankfully, many of my subscribers pointed me towards the essential stories and a few that were just kind of fun. But I was also going to need series that would give context for the story elements in Absolute Wonder Woman. So I looked towards Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman, the creative team behind Absolute Wonder Woman. They have been incredibly open about the comics that inspired their current series. series. Kelly and Hayden are exceptional at what they do. Sherman's artwork is quickly becoming some of my favorite in comics. His paneling is amongst the best I've seen, and I loved his work on Batman Dark Patterns. But Absolute Wonder Woman is admittedly his finest work yet. Kelly Thompson has a remarkable ability to get to the heart of every character she writes. Whether it's Captain Marvel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Birds of Prey, and now Wonder Woman, she's able to craft stories that make you fall in love with the character the same way she does. Every interview I've read has only deepened my admiration for her as both a writer and a person.
I do find myself trying to write for people like me a little bit, starting with powerful images and a strong hook, and sometimes that means starting not at the beginning. I'm a big fan of not showing everything, which doesn't always go over well with editors or readers. I want readers to be doing some work rather than being spoon-fed every bit of information. We're supposed to be giving you enough so that you can fill in the blanks between panels and pages. It's part of the beauty of the medium.
With this perfected list, I was ready to begin my journey. So without further ado, let's dive into the comic world of Wonder Woman. The story of the Amazons and their superhero princess has had an interesting history. From the Golden Age to the New 52 and onward, the shape of how the Amazons and Diana came to be has morphed in a few different directions. It is difficult to say why that's been the case. Personally, I believe that the history of the Amazons and its tie to Greek myth is a little more complicated to work with than Bruce's parents getting switched down on Dead Parents Boulevard. Oh wow, some crazy murderers on Crime Alley. This is where crime happens, Bruce. Why are you surprised? Spirit of Truth, the standalone story co-created by Paul Dini and Alex Ross, opens with a beautifully illustrated synopsis of Amazonian history and Diana's rise to becoming Wonder Woman. The Amazons got sick of the world of man, goddesses sent them to Themyscira, Hippolyta and the gods make a baby from clay. That baby grows up to be Wonder Woman, the ambassador to the human world, arbiter of truth, peace, and diplomacy. Not bad. Pretty straightforward introduction if you ask me, that gives you exactly what you're looking for understanding why the most gorgeous woman you've ever seen is punching street thugs in a leotard. Great work, you two. If only the rest of the story wasn't so ass. But for as decent as this breakdown is, it's within the details that inform why all of this context is important for the kind of character Diana is. Unlike Batman or Superman, whose presence are informed by singular events and the decisions made on their path to becoming the heroes they are today, they are not dependent on that history before those events. Wonder Woman, however, carries the weight of that history. To get the most out of an origin, you would want one that explores those details as thoroughly as possible, which brings us to our first stop on this journey. Wonder Woman Historia details the events that led to Diana's birth. It expands on the foundations laid by the George Perez run, providing a nuanced take through the lens of the goddesses. The art for each book is handled by different artists who breathe so much life into the story. It has some of the best art I've seen in a comic ever, from how creative the paneling and page direction is, to the epic full-page pieces, to the beautiful color palette. The gods are depicted in an abstract way that is more representative of the domains they govern. Every time I return to it, I find something new that I love, like how Artemis shapeshifts and bends into the background to emphasize how one with nature she is. Not only did I get a ton of requests to read this one, this is also quoted as being the main source of inspiration for how Hayden and Kelly would handle the mythology within Absolute Wonder Woman.
I've talked a lot about Historia being our guiding star in how we approach the gods and what Diana's relationship with them might look like, and we're just going to keep pushing that forward, exploring the beauty and the horror that comes from being that closely connected to gods and magic.
So let's see what's inside. To combat the heinous treatment of women throughout time by the hands of man, the goddesses give birth to a new race who would be the protectors against injustice in defiance of Zeus, Lord of Olympus, using the lost souls of the brutalized and giving them new life as Amazons, forming different tribes that serve different goddesses with their own traditions, but move as one unified sisterhood. They walk the land to aid women and free them from their oppression. One of these women who was saved requests to create a new tribe of women not of the gods, but who would be patrons to all the goddesses. That human was Hippolyta, and she would later be crowned Queen of the Amazons. She is strong, kind, wise, and the story explores how she is able to continue forward through suffering. I really enjoyed seeing this side of Hippolyta because I feel like it draws a direct correlation between her and her daughter Diana. Her pride, her stubbornness, and need to stand up against injustice are all aspects of Diana that are universal. Even the way she's drawn clearly inspired the design for Absolute Wonder Woman. But for as beautiful and inspired as this story can be, it is filled with tragedy, and said tragedy informs Diana's birth. After one of the human Amazon kills the son of a slave trader in the House of Apollo, the male gods accuse the goddesses of breaking the natural law. That natural law, in this case, being a metaphor for patriarchy. So, war is declared. The Amazons fight for their own survival against the forces of man in Olympus, defeating the likes of Hercules, demigod, and son of Zeus. An insult the god king would not take lightly. As the Amazons lose more and more ground, as the sisters fall against impossible odds, Hippolyta is granted an audience with the gods to plead for the safety of the Amazons. She is presented with an impossible choice. Give up the life of a sister so that the rest of the Amazons may live, but in captivity on an island away from the world of man. Or keep the life and watch as all the Amazons are eradicated. With tears in her eyes and her heart shattered, Hippolyta chooses to save the lives of the rest of her sisters in exchange for one. It's a truly heartbreaking scene, one that moved me close to tears. That heavy weight of unfairness the Amazons face simply for attempting to live and defend themselves. While one of the human Amazons did murder within the House of Apollo, that very same boy was the one who enacted cruelty against one of the women unprovoked. While he was met with mercy, the entirety of the Amazons are met with death. Hope seems lost forever until it is restored. The spirit of the baby Hippolyta tried to save before it was given new life through a body made of clay by Hera and the rest of the goddesses, named Diana. The moment I got to this part, I could not stop crying. The weight of everything that had occurred, to feel that helplessness and injustice these women endured, can move anyone, but it is in the hope that Diana brings that is so overwhelming. This is a tale defined by hope in the face of the impossible. Faith in the flow of eternity that even in darkness, light will find a way. That is the weight that Diana carries. The chosen woman who walks the path led by the goddesses, by mothers and sisters who lived and the ones we lost. It is a long path that may not see an end, but it's also one that Diana will walk, run, and fly through with the scorn of the past and hope for a better future. With Diana's birth behind us, we arrive at the story of how she becomes Wonder Woman. Of everything I've read so far, the George Perez run remains the most solid interpretation of her origin. I will admit, I was a little nervous going into this particular story. I feel like I have a natural aversion to comics from this era, just because I prefer modern styling and storytelling. It is something I'm working to get over, and boy, am I glad that I am. This run is beautiful from top to bottom. The illustrations are iconic, and there's a fearless creativity to it. It embraces the strange, the mythical, and even the goofy without feeling out of place. The result is a comic with unforgettable imagery. As Ares, the god of war, manipulates humanity towards global destruction in an attempt to seize control of Olympus, the goddesses call upon the Amazons to send a champion. That champion would be Diana. Raised on Themyscira in the traditions of her people, she learns history, diplomacy, combat, compassion, and love, while growing into the gifts the goddesses bestowed upon her at birth, like super strength, super speed, super beauty, and even the ability to fly. Standing on the threshold of adulthood, she defies her mother Hippolyta to enter a tournament that would decide who would become the Amazons' champion in secret, and she emerges victorious. Leaving Paradise Island behind, Diana journeys into man's world to stop Ares before war consumes everything. Along the way, she forms the friendships that would become the foundation of Wonder Woman's mythos. Julie Capitellis, Steve Trevor, Ida Candy, and together they stand against Ares, his children, and the armies of war itself. When all seems lost, Diana drives Ares back using her lasso of truth to force him to see how his quest will leave him with nothing but an empty void. Ares retreats and the day is saved. Hooray! I think the lasso of truth is really funny sometimes. Most times it's just a thing that kind of compels you to not be able to lie. It's got this weird binding magic to it. But then other times it's like a domain expansion that forces you into your inner mind along with Diana. It's weird, and every time she does it, I just think of Jujutsu Kaisen. She has her own infinite void. What fascinated me most, though, wasn't the journey itself, but how this journey unfolded compared to Absolute Wonder Woman. In the Absolute verse, Diana is raised with a purpose already chosen for her. The goddesses shape her into a weapon against an unknown, prophesized evil, returning throughout her childhood to train her, guide her, and prepare her for the burden she will one day carry. From the day she is taken, the destiny of many is placed in her hands before she even is able to decide for herself. Even the gifts and powers provided to her are provided with a selfishness on the part of the goddesses, which may end up having unintended consequences, such as Aphrodite providing Diana with eternal beauty and the aura of love to help her make allies. But this in turn makes it impossible to know if anyone she meets truly loves her for her. Mainline Diana is different. She leaves Themyscira because she longs for purpose. She wants to prove herself worthy of the Amazons and explore a world she's never seen. She doesn't know its customs, she barely understands its language. But every step she takes is another lesson, another chance to grow into the woman she believes she can become. Only after confronting Ares with the lasso of truth does she truly understand how desperately humanity needs her. That's what makes these two versions so fascinating. Absolute Diana begins her story with an unwavering conviction. She knows exactly what she's fighting for, or at least has a general idea. She takes the calling in stride, protecting people wherever she can, and remaining steadfast in her mission. Absolute Diana's struggle is with identity, not purpose. Torn from Themyscira as an infant, she's separated from the people and culture that should have raised her. Though she finds love in her surrogate mother Circe and friendship wherever she goes, that absence never fully leaves her and weighs on her mind. Mainline Diana begins with the opposite. She has family, she has sisterhood, she has home. What she doesn't have yet is purpose and guidance. She has to leave everything she loves behind in order to discover who she is meant to become, which leaves her often confused and vulnerable by those who seek to take advantage of her good nature. But you also get to see her become a strong, confident woman through these trials. The time passage section of Perez's run is great for exploring this, and it's definitely one of my favorite sections of the story. Different women recount the moments Diana changed their lives, while quietly filling in important chapters of her journey, including her first encounter with the Justice League. Through their stories, you watch Diana wrestle with doubt, wondering if her lack of understanding will cause her to fail the very mission she crossed the ocean to fulfill. At the same time, you realize something she doesn't. Simply by being herself, she's already changed the world. Her compassion inspires people. Her sincerity gives them hope, even when she's not trying to. Because to me, that is the heart of Wonder Woman. Whether or not she's battling gods, dealing with ancient monsters, or the judgment of the people she's sworn to protect, whether she's dealing with prophecy or the impossible expectations set upon the ambassador of peace, Diana endures. And no matter which universe she belongs to, she will always choose to forge her own path. From Diana's humble beginnings, we move to her adventures as Wonder Woman, where we'll find the context needed for the remaining parts of our criteria, the essence of the character and the world that surrounds her. I had an incredible time exploring many stories Diana has been a part of, from the chilling magic-filled quest of Justice League Dark, which places our Greek myth princess alongside DC's greatest mystics to battle ancient evil, and what the fuck is that? To the epic, heartbreaking Elseworld tale of Wonder Woman Dead Earth, where Diana struggles to save a broken world while uncovering what shattered it in the first place. A personal favorite of mine, and what the fuck is that? To the tragic trial of Wonder Woman Hecate, which pits her against Batman of all people over the fate of a young woman who committed a terrible crime. Or did she? And what the fuck is that? Each story offered its own unique window into Diana's character and everything she has to offer. I'd love to talk about these more in greater detail, and let's say the near future, and not now. Not right now. But if we're looking for runs that best capture Wonder Woman while also providing the strongest foundation for Absolute Wonder Woman, we have to turn the page to two legendary creators, Gail Simon and Greg Rucka, specifically Rucka's section in the Wonder Woman 1987 run. Both are filled with exciting, heartfelt, and endlessly entertaining stories that push Diana to her limits. While their approaches to Wonder Woman's adventures differ greatly, they're united in what matters most, exploring the kind of person Diana is and why she has has endured over 80 years. The Gail Simon run is where I think I had the most fun, because it fully embraced the wonderfully bizarre side of Wonder Woman's adventures. There is an overarching narrative in the Circle and Rise of the Olympians. It's the small stories sprinkled throughout that left the biggest impression on me. Each one throws Diana into stranger yet endlessly exciting situations. In Ends of the Earth, she travels through mystic realms alongside Beowulf to break a demonic curse. In Expatriate, she travels into space to resolve a conflict between a conquering alien race and a member of the Green Lantern Corps. She befriends a group of intelligent gorillas and lets them stay in her apartment. She teams up with Black Canary in an underground Japanese fighting arena to hunt down Dr. Psycho. She even battles the Queen of Fables, who is trying to destroy her reputation by producing a terrible Wonder Woman movie. Must have been Wonder Woman 1984. That's a bad joke. That joke sucks. As ridiculous as the adventures sound, they're exactly what makes Diana so compelling. She's at her best when confronted with challenges that test both her endurance of body and complexity of her mind. Whether through combat or compassion, she triumphs because she refuses to believe every problem can be solved with force. There are certainly moments where a punch or the crack of the lasso of truth is enough, but just as often victory comes from lowering her fists, showing humility, and trying to find a way to reach the hearts of people who seem beyond saving. Her Amazon training, quick thinking, and unwavering trust in her instincts allows her to solve problems in ways few heroes ever could. Her inner monologue reinforces these qualities pretty good. Diana possesses a level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence that I often associate with Batman's narrations. Difference being hers is from a more hopeful lens. She attempts to understand people before she judges them, and that empathy shapes every decision she makes. These are all qualities that carry directly into Absolute Wonder Woman, from her creative problem solving to boundless compassion to her quiet confidence in the face of impossible odds. Oh yeah, she's also hilarious. Kelly Thompson has spoken in interviews about how Gail Simmons' run was the inspiration for crafting the humor in Absolute Wonder Woman, and it's easy to see why.
It wasn't until Gail Simone's Wonder Woman run in 2008 where I finally started clicking with the character. Simone wrote her with more of a sense of humour than I'd seen in past iterations, and something about that allowed me to relate to her a little more and start figuring out how awesome she was. To this day, when I think of the Diana I adore, it's the Greg Rucka and Gail Simone versions of the character.
Diana can be sassy, sarcastic. Her humor is subtle, often dry, but it only adds to her charm. Even when surrounded by her own suffering, she manages to find a glimmer of light. The irony of existence is never lost on her, yet she never allows it to harden her heart. And that endeared me to her even more. Reading these stories reminded me a lot of Thor Ragnarok. Not because they're specifically identical, but because Diana feels every bit the whimsical, larger-than-life hero of heaven and earth that Thor feels. She even visits Asgard once. But unlike Thor, Diana is never driven by ego. She understands that being Wonder Woman means being an example. She carries herself with the weight of someone who knows others are looking for her for hope, and she refuses to let them down. Just don't, do what they did to Thor in Love and Thunder. I don't think I could survive that twice. If there was anything that I didn't particularly love about the Gail Simmons run, it would be two things. First, I don't really think the ending stuck the landing for me. The Circle was fantastic, and I really enjoyed how that story concluded, but the final issues centered around Ares' rage-baiting children and Diana's aunt from space didn't do it for me. Second, I never enjoyed the vibe of the whole Diana Prince secret identity thing. Kelly Thompson actually does touch on this in one of her interviews, and she expresses exactly why this didn't sit well with me. I think a secret identity would just look like a lie to her. She'd be like, why would I hide what I am? She doesn't know what celebrities and TV shows are and anything like that. So there's a whole disconnect there between the way she's going to think of the world, and so she's not going to come with any kind of secret identity. She's just going to show up and kick ass. Diana occupies a unique place among DC heroes because she's a front-facing superhero. She isn't someone who hides behind a mask. Wonder Woman is a title with immense weight, but it's not one that conceals Diana. They are one and the same. She's an ambassador of an entire people and the values they represent, a culture she reveres and believes it is her duty to share it with the world. A secret identity feels counterintuitive to that mission, which brings us to Greg Rucka's run, and by all accounts so far, my favorite portrayal of mainline Diana. This series leans far more heavily into her role as an ambassador and public figure. figure. This took me by surprise because I did not think I was going to enjoy this that much. Jumping from spacefaring adventures to embassy meetings and political debates didn't really sound like my vibe. But Greg Rucka has an incredible ability to transform the seemingly mundane into some of the most compelling material I've read so far, all while still delivering the mythic action I've come to expect from Wonder Woman. It also features plenty of familiar faces that would later appear in Absolute Wonder Woman. Io, Cersei, and now I know that ain't who I think it is. My boy Ferdinand, gimme some! Beneath all that lies a story about sacrifice and the lengths Diana will go to uphold the ideals she represents. As Wonder Woman and her embassy prepare to release her book, Reflections, a collection of essays and speeches, Diana sets out to share everything she's learned from living among humanity and everything she hopes to teach as an Amazon. It's an interesting title on its own, but it also becomes the central metaphor for this entire run. Diana finds herself battling enemies who seek to weaponize the public conversation surrounding the book in order to destroy her reputation as a hero of the mortal world. Dr. Psycho, Silver Swan, Maxwell Lord, Medusa, Cersei, Cheetah, Veronica motherfucking Kale. Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery is fascinating because it exists between two worlds, the mortal and the godly. Enemies coming from these two different periods of time challenge Diana in ways that I don't think you get with too many superheroes. There's this mix of culture and ideology that these varying enemies can bring to Wonder Woman that really open up her storytelling. In issue 222, Cheetah delivers a phenomenal monologue about the uneven treatment she and Diana have received from the gods. Barbara Minerva sought divine gifts through selfish ambition and was cursed for it. The Cheetah God gave her endless hunger for flesh and blood because she was not a virgin when they bonded. Diana, meanwhile, was blessed with beauty, strength, wisdom, and perhaps most painfully of all, mercy. A gift Barbara believes she was never afforded, though she does acknowledge that her greed blinded her to the dangers of seeking power. Veronica Kale represents envy. She believes everything Diana stands for is a lie, that her grace, compassion, and message of peace are nothing more than a performance meant to steal the spotlight. Kale has quickly become one of my favorite DC villains because she embodies everything Wonder Woman fights against, but also holds contempt for the patriarchal nature of man's world. Her backstory is also tragic. Coming from absolutely nothing at all, and following the death of her mother, she crawled her way to the top, overcoming a world that consistently tried to deny her greatness, while Diana seemingly arrived in man's world already adored. In Veronica's eyes, Diana never earned what she has, and deserves to have it stripped from her clay-formed hands by any means necessary. Together, Diana, Cheetah, and Veronica form a sort of triforce of virtues and vices: greed, envy, and pride. Coincidentally, or perhaps not, the same thematic triangle appears again in Absolute Wonder Woman. Meanwhile, Athena and the new gods scheme for the thrones of the old pantheon, dragging Diana and everyone she loves into a warring conflict. With every issue, the weight of Diana's shoulders grow heavier. Her responsibilities to Themyscira, the Justice League, the Embassy, humanity, and the gods begin crashing into one another until it seems impossible for one person to bear it all. Yet Diana never stops moving forward. One of my favorite moments comes from issue 217. After being blinded in her battle against Medusa, whose curse turned a child of a close friend to stone, Diana still manages to crown Athena Queen of Olympus and appoint Ares ruler of the underworld. When offered any reward she desires, she only asks for one thing: the boy's life, who was taken from his father. Even when the odds are stacked against her, when the gods abandon her, when humanity condemns her, when she struggles to forgive herself, Diana still chooses what is right. I don't have proof for this, but I do think that the Absolute Wonder Woman annual might have taken inspiration from this story. That one follows Diana attempting to break Medusa's curse after she felt her pain during her brief time experiencing it when she transformed into Medusa to defeat the Terracide. Cool shit happens in this comic, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Instead of Diana losing her eyesight with Medusa, Diana asks Athena to give her the ability to look Medusa in the eye without turning to stone, giving Medusa something she hadn't had in eternity: the caring gaze of another without fear, then helping her return to her original form. The story is about how myths told through time can be misconstrued, but it is a prime example of Diana's ability to weather the storm to help another. The final issues of Rekka's run, much like Historia, left me in tears. After killing Maxwell Lord to stop his plan, Diana must endure the world's condemnation while simultaneously facing the destruction of Themyscira by the Omax. As the Olmecs descend upon Paradise Island, the gods hide Themyscira away from man's world once more, but leave Diana behind. After everything she has sacrificed, after every trial they demanded of her, she is asked why she continues to endure. And with tears in her eyes, she gives a simple answer: hope. A hope that her faith will bear fruit. A hope that her suffering has meaning. A hope that as long as she continues to fight, tomorrow can still be better than today. That's the heart of Wonder Woman. Like the title of her book, Diana is a reflection, a mirror held up to the gods and humanities alike. She reflects our fears, our pride, our envy, our failures, and our suffering. But she also reflects our capacity for kindness, truth, love, and hope. She reminds us that no matter how impossible the road may seem, there's always another step to take. And like Diana, we can endure. Phew, that was a lot of reading, but worth every second. Trust me, I am fully aware that I have a ton of amazing stories to get through still. I need to finish the later half of the George Perez run. It was getting really good where I left off. I am super excited to get into Greg Rucka's run during Wonder Woman Rebirth. Outside of the Justice League series, I haven't seen much of Diana's animated portrayals, so I'm looking forward to checking those out as well. But regardless, I can confidently say that I am 100% Wonder Woman pilled. So it's time to do what any self-respecting YouTuber would do. Hot takes. That's right, freaks, ghouls, and critters. I have crowned myself the official Wonder Woman certifier. After reading a few comics, I require no more context to start making outlandish claims about this prolific character. My word is now law. Based on the material we've read so far, there are some elements of Diana that I have strong feelings on, so I want to share them with you, as well as their relation to Absolute Wonder Woman and how those elements are handled there. So welcome to Johnny Star's Wonder Woman Hot Take Lightning Round. We're still working on the name. Wonder Weapons. Diana being raised on Themyscira obviously means she is trained in different manners of combat, which means she would be capable of using a variety of different weapons outside of her lasso of truth, silver bracelets, and the tiara she would be throwing around like a boomerang. Now, I will be honest, when reading Absolute Wonder Woman and I saw that she had a big-ass Buster Sword, I thought that was pretty badass. It also ends up making a lot more sense after reading Kelly Thompson's reasoning for having it in the story.
I honestly expected the sword to be very unpopular given how Wonder Woman fans often feel about Diana with a sword, but apparently if you make the sword big enough, some of that criticism falls away. I do think that a giant magic sword is very appropriate for some of the threats this Wonder Woman is facing right out of the gate. It's not a weapon she would deploy against an everyday threat, but the threat she first arrives to face is hardly every day.
Yeah, it just makes sense for this type of character and this type of world. She would have an arsenal of weapons, and I like how most of her weapons are made by/with her mother Cersei. It gives this texture of making something out of nothing, and her appreciation for the tools is genuine. I also love that she can use magic, and how that magic has rules that she must follow. Her connection to the gods is that much stronger because of it, as well as her connection again to her mother who taught her. The rules add a layer of complexity and risk-reward to her fights. Nothing ever feels too OP, yet still packs a punch, which is a nice balance. But that being said, after reading some core comics for Wonder Woman, I do think keeping her to her core weapons is the best thing to do for her in her mainline iteration. No sword, no shield, no spear, no axe. Not to say she can never use them. I'm never gonna say a character doesn't look cool when they pick up a sword every now and again. I'm not crazy. But her main stuff provides her with her own identity and keeps her as a peacekeeping warrior where killing isn't her first option, along with all of the gifts provided to her by the gods. Using her whip to subdue, her braces to guard/protect, and her tiara so she has a fireball. Plus, watching Diana fight is so sick. Because she's a trained fighter with strength and speed comparable to Superman, her fights can be more visually interesting than just slamming into enemies. Mainline Diana should have weapons that complement her godly power and represent the best of her people. Absolute Diana has weapons that complement her scrappy upbringing and represent her surrogate mother. And speaking of mothers, Wonder Origin. As I stated earlier in the video, Wonder Woman's origin has had a few tweaks over the years. Sometimes the gods loved Hippolyta singing so much they gave her a baby. Sometimes Hippolyta was the original Wonder Woman. Sometimes Zeus is her father. Sometimes her father is like the dirt of Themyscira. Okay, I'm here to say, let's keep it to the classics, people, please. Amazons were banished from Themyscira. Hippolyta makes the clay baby. The gods give the clay baby life. You get Wonder Woman. Zeus being her dad is really dumb, because the goddess's plan of making their own tribe, then gifting the Amazons a baby after their banishment just hits harder. Plus, Zeus is supposed to work as a stand-in for the patriarchal system. Diana's meant to be detached from that system and fight to change it. Having her face off against children of Zeus while having that disconnect is better writing in my opinion. Though looking at parent dynamics, I really enjoyed seeing Cersei enact revenge on the Amazons for keeping her daughter on Themyscira during the Rucker run, then seeing Diana being raised by her in Absolute Wonder Woman. Their dynamic and the love they have for each other is so beautiful. Through Diana, you can see how the many misconceptions about Cersei are shown to be just that. And through Cersei, you see just how transformative being with Diana can be. So far in Absolute Wonder Woman, they haven't discussed Cersei having another daughter or another child prior to getting Diana. I am very interested to see how that element develops if it does end up being in the story, especially with Diana getting closer to uncovering what happened with the Amazons. Wonder flaws. In the conversation about the kind of character Diana is, I do feel like it's a little lazy to focus purely on her wisdom and compassion. That is a very core aspect of her ability to reach hearts and show empathy when you least expect it. Absolute Diana is at her best when she offers her enemies a way out for a chance of redemption, even if it doesn't always work out the first time. She is wisdom, she is love, she is truth, but she's also very prideful. I believe when most people think about pride, they think of characters like Vegeta, or the list of characters whose pride is rooted in a negative character arc, where their reverence for their own abilities and status cause them to act rashly. Diana's pride is far more similar to Deku from My Hero. Her respect for her gods, her abilities, her heritage can blind her sometimes to seeing the bigger picture, or even leave her open to exploitation by her enemies, much like the observation Sheeta made in the Greg Rucka run. You see elements of it in Absolute, where Diana has to constantly check herself when her ego gets the best of her. It's a great dynamic about Diana that grounds her and makes her feel more human than she would without it. You can put her in many different situations where this aspect can come through. Justice League Dark is also a great example. Her insecurity and frustration that the magic community doesn't really take her seriously, even though she is from the realm of the gods. She has some experience with the dark arts, but during this journey quickly realizes the limits to her understanding. Wonder personality. Diana should be funny and poetic. I talked about Diana's humor a little earlier, so I won't retread any of that stuff, but I wanted to add how that manifests in Absolute Wonder Woman. This girl is so fucking silly. I love her so much. She isn't like Deadpool or Spider-Man, where the jokes are meant to throw off their opponent or be self-deprecating. Her humor lightens the mood even when things seem dire, like her comment to Ferdinand as she fought the fishman in the labyrinth. Cool shit happens in this comic, bro. I don't know what to tell you. The way she speaks is also very important to me. She's so careful with her words, saying exactly what she means, and it says so much about how she sees the world. Diana speaks almost in poetry. Her words reach the spirit as well as the mind. Wonder location. Bringing it back to Superman and Batman, I think it's really silly that Diana doesn't have her own special city. Batman gets Gotham, Superman gets Metropolis, and Wonder Woman gets what? Fucking Boston? I was a fan of the embassy, having staff there to help her with her public image. But again, I think it is done best in Absolute. Gateway City being a coastal city is perfect, since you get to have a place that could be across from wherever Themyscira is. Plus it's on the West Coast, so Diana could protect me in her big strong arms. Wonder Mobile, or whatever. This is, oh my god, this video is so long. This may end up being my hottest take of this lightning round, but I do have to say, I think the flying invisible jet is stupid. Feels so out of place to me in her mythos. It's like the Spider-Mobile or the Thanos copter. I just don't think she needs it. If she's gonna have a different form of travel that can help carry people, I think Pegasus makes more sense, since it's a gift from the gods like all the other stuff she has. And it can also assist in combat. Pegasus being undead in Absolute is cool, but I think he's way better with, skin. Wonder sexuality. Diana is a queer icon, and I believe that she should be allowed to be queer in her own mainline stories. Throughout her story, you can see how her affection for all people, especially women, can lead to possible relationships. But from what I've seen so far, she hasn't really been allowed to be explicitly queer in mainline stories, which I think is a shame. In Dark Knights of Steel, she's dating Supergirl, and it's so adorable. I love it. I really do. Dark Knights of Steel is also really good. I like it a lot. You should read it if you haven't. I think the way that it's done in Absolute Wonder Woman is really interesting. You see the start of relationships building between Diana and Barbara Minerva, or even Zatanna as well. One going in the direction of hope for a new beginning, while the other one is more going in the direction of possible tragedy. She should be more fluid, but I think Kelly Thompson explains it way better than my straight male ass could.
Diana is beyond thinking about people's gender as a construct. She grew up in hell with demon pets. She's not going to think, oh, I really love this person. It's too bad they don't have the right equipment. Like, she's just not built that way. She's a unique person in the world, in the universe. And it seems truly laughable to me to be like, oh no, she's straight or she's a lesbian. She's only into this one thing. It's the antithesis of what I think of as Diana. So it's impossible for me to not write her queer. I think she's everything. This is a world where aliens and people from other planets exist. It's just a crazy universe. It seems bizarre to me that people who've had the experiences that superheroes have had going to other planets and stuff would still be so locked down to binary gender rules.
And so that's going to do it for the not so lightning round. I want to emphasize that these are just simply my thoughts and feelings after reading these stories. Wonder Woman means something different to everyone. And I know my connection to Diana won't be the same as yours, because she is such a multifaceted character. She's lived throughout decades of stories, countless interpretations, and endless adventures. When I think about Diana, I think about the woman in my life that I love. I even see parts of myself reflected in her, because she represents the very best of what humanity can be. She may end up meaning something completely different to you, and I think that's the way it should be. The important thing isn't that you see her the way that I see her, but more that you're taking the time to spend time with her at all. And I think once you do, you'll end up falling in love with Wonder Woman just like how I did. You know, I'm happy I went on this journey to get to know this character. I do feel like I walked away changed for the better, but it also comes with this feeling of sadness. I now know how longtime Wonder Woman fans feel. Being promised all of these different projects, from a video game, to a movie, to a TV show, to an animated series, only for those promises to just be empty, hollowed, and shelved. Hearing utter lies about this character not being as popular as we're making it out to be, when there is a very clear demand for more Wonder Woman content out there. Bro, the first thing I thought of when I saw the Lao Fei gameplay trailer was this could have been a Wonder Woman game, and we're never getting it. This shit is so depressing, bro. Like, seriously. You hope for the best, you pray for the best, but we endure. We endure, because that's what Diana would do. Believe that your faith in this character you love so much will be rewarded. I'm grateful that I was able to spend time with her, and I look forward to spending more time as I read more. She transformed me, and I hope she can do the same for you too. Thank you to Kelly Thompson. Thank you to Gail Simmet, Greg Rucka, George Perez, and all of the amazing creatives out there that turned me into a Wonder Woman fan. Thank all of you for watching right now, and I hope that you end up reading Wonder Woman comics and telling me what you think. And finally, thank you, Diana, for existing, for enduring, for having all of these amazing stories that turned me into the fan that I am today. You truly are a Wonder Woman.